Thank you, gentlemen. My apologies. I'm so sorry that I ended up at the wrong place. I was over at Marion University. I misread my map and my instructions, so I apologize. Did yesterday's speaker use a full hour? Or did you have multiple speakers yesterday? Multiple? How long was the session total?
About 45 minutes.
45 minutes to an hour? Were you guys able to stay alert and engaged? Did you learn anything in that time? Did you learn anything that you can use personally? Because that's most important. Anytime you have a chance to hear from a speaker, you should try to take something away that you can use. Not something that sounds good, not something that makes sense, but something that you can put into your inventory as a person or as an athlete. So I hope that you pulled something out of what was said yesterday that you can use. And then you'll be able to put that into practice in your own journey. Because this experience is about your development. Obviously you all enjoy, perhaps love basketball. How many have aspirations of playing in college? Whether it's this sport or another sport. That's the vast majority of you here. How many are multi-sport athletes? Just a handful. So a good number of you have specialized and focused on hoops. So that gives us something in common. Because when I was sitting in this seat as a high school senior or younger, I had made up my mind by the time I was 12 years old that basketball was my sport of choice. And that's what I wanted to do. If any adult asked me what I wanted to do or be at 12, it was to be an NBA player. That was my dream. I didn't know what it would take, but I knew it was something that I thought I would enjoy. Loved the game, got exposed to it early on, and after playing a little football and some baseball, basketball became the focus of my athletic journey. And thanks be to God that I had the opportunity to realize every dream along the way. Thanks be to God, my parents, family, coaches, teammates. There were a lot of folks that helped me realize that dream of being an NBA player. And even today, basketball continues to be a significant part of my life. It's afforded me an opportunity to do things for my family and other people that I could only have dreamed about as a high school senior, and I'm extremely grateful. Got my college education from The Ohio State University through basketball ability. Continue to work in the game as an announcer. Most of you are probably more familiar with me. How many are NBA 2K video gamers? You guys know who those announcers are calling the game? Are they any good? Yeah. Or are you just saying that? Sometimes we are, right. 50% of the time we're good. 30% of the time we're okay. 20% of the time I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. But basketball has been a huge part of my life, and I'm thankful for it. A couple of things I want you to think about in my time of sharing with you. The most important thing that I want to get across to you guys today is to think about this phrase and how you can apply it in your own journey as an athlete, as a young man, and as a student. Control the controllables. In a basketball sense, a coach might say next play mentality. Don't get caught up in your mistakes. Don't let a call affect your next play or your execution or your effort. In life, controlling the controllables is something that we all have to continue to work at mastering. In the world of athletics, you get an opportunity to work on developing that skill on a regular basis. Whether it's practice, conditioning, games, the game within the game, you have an opportunity to practice controlling the controllables. Why is that so important? Because there's so much in life we can't control. As a matter of fact, I would only say there are three things that we have ultimate control over in our lives. Only three. Our attitude, our effort, and our faith. After that, we don't necessarily have control over everything else. But those three things affect everything else. Control the controllables. Why is that important? Because it has application in every aspect of your life. You guys eventually will be college students, perhaps college scholarship athletes, but after that, hopefully college graduates, perhaps husbands, fathers, community leaders. Being able to control the controllables is going to be very, very important and valuable. It's important because those things we can't control, we need not waste energy on those things. Whether they're other people, circumstances that come in our path, control the controllables. I only think there are three things that you really have personal, direct control over. Your attitude. Has anybody ever made you mad? Talk to me. Talk to me, louder.
Knowing that, by child swindle, 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react. 10% of what happens to you is life, 90% is how you react. We have 3 children, 26, 24, and 21. From an early age, they could never come to me or their mom and say somebody made them mad. Somebody did something you didn't like. Somebody did something or said something that you didn't agree with or didn't appreciate, whether it was a teacher or a coach, a friend. But how you reacted is on you. Your attitude is on you. Now that doesn't mean that you're not going to have bumps and difficulties and challenges and pain and heartache and adversity. If there's anybody who hasn't experienced any of that, stand up. We all do. Black, white, rich, poor, rural, suburban, urban. We all experience life. Some stories are worse than others, but I tell you what, you look around and think about how bad your situation might be or how good it might be, I can tell you somebody somewhere has it worse or better. Guaranteed. Your attitude is one of your controllables. How you bring yourself to class, how you handle your responsibilities at home, how you perform and prepare to perform as an athlete. That starts with your attitude. Another branch on the attitude tree for me is to continue to raise your own standard. Control the controllables. The first controllable is attitude. And within attitude, that's something you have to have a handle on, and you have to be able to raise the standards on yourself. I'm 6'8" or 9, give or take half an inch. Have been since I was 17 years old. Had nothing to do with it. DNA, God's giftedness, who my folks were, that impacted where I ended up on the wall in measuring sticks. Who you are, what you are, to a large degree is impacted by DNA, who your parents are, where you come from. You don't have any control over that. What you have control over is trying to get the most out of what God has given you in ability, opportunity. Raise your standard on yourself. Another way to look at that is don't be satisfied with different levels of success. Continue to try to enhance what you are as a young man, as a student, as an athlete. Effort. Another way to look at that is work rate. How many of you can measure your level of effort on a consistent basis? I think everybody should be able to raise their hand on that. Because you know when you're expending the kind of energy necessary to have a good workout, to have a productive practice, to get your assignments in on time at a high level. That work rate is something you can control. And establishing a habit of trying to be consistent in that work rate is something that you guys have to choose to do. And as you aspire and move forward in athletics and in life, that's something that you're going to have to generate yourself. as a college student, as a college player, as an employee. Perhaps some of you may be business owners at some point. You're going to have to generate a work rate that isn't dependent upon somebody watching over you or telling you exactly what and how to do things. It's going to be on you to generate a consistent work rate. Sports is one of the greatest places to develop that and learn that and put it into practice so it becomes part of it. I last played basketball in 1986. Most of you guys weren't even born then. I'm like an old geezer, an old has-been as a basketball player. Can only play in my dreams now. And those are all good. I'm dunking on people, I'm spinning, I'm rebounding, I'm making the pass to the right guy, I'm even defending, which coaches who knew what I was as a player would probably say, that's a real dream. Although I tried, I wasn't a great defender, would have gotten better had I continued to play, no question, because I would have worked at it. But the point I'm making is that even though I've not played in well over 25 years, I've not played competitive basketball, some of the things that I learned because of my experiences in the game, from middle school to high school to college to the NBA, still have an impact on my life. Case in point, part of being an athlete is you have to take care of your body. You have to condition. You have to get strong. You have to spend time in the weight room. You have to educate yourself about those things that are good for you to eat and drink and those things that aren't. Because I was so engrossed in the game and wanted to excel to the best of my ability, I put a lot of those things into practice in my career. And even though I had to give up playing at an early age, because I had established the habit of exercising regularly, of trying to make sure I drank the right amount of water to hydrate my body effectively, to understand what things I should be putting into my body and shouldn't. Because I had established a habit and a pattern of doing that kind of stuff, even though I had to stop playing, that didn't go away. That continued to be a part of my life going forward. Those habits that were established became a part of how I try to operate now. So I say that to say this, the things that you're putting into practice to succeed as an athlete are transferable to your success in the classroom, in the working world, in your personal life. Starts with your attitude, your effort and work rate has to be consistent and self-generated. And the last thing is faith. Faith for me begins with my relationship with God through Christ. I've journeyed along that path for the last 27 years now. As a high schooler, was exposed to a relationship with God, but never really understood it. Back in 1986, through a minister sharing the Word of God with me, became very much more familiar with what my heart needed to be in terms of being right with God, and gave my life to Christ by faith. And that faith is the foundation that I stand on, the Word of God. Allowing that to penetrate and impact my thinking, my speaking, and my doing. Faith is multi-pronged. That is the foundation of faith for me, but faith in the world of athletics has to do with confidence in your coaches. Trusting that they desire what's best for you and the team. And they're going to push you to try to get the most out of it. There has to be a level of faith and confidence there. There has to be a level of faith and confidence in your teammates. This isn't track and field or golf or tennis. Basketball is a team game. It takes everybody. Those 5 players out on the court and the 7 to 10 that might not be on the floor, but are part of the group, bringing their best to the effort of the team. You being accountable to bring your best to that effort. There's a level of faith required to get the most out of your opportunities and experiences. Control the controllables.